Welcome to the Walk by the Way podcast. We're so glad you're here. This is Scarlett, and I'm with my co-host Rachel and our first ever guest Megan. We became good friends with Megan in Japan while we were stationed at Kadena together. So Megan, how is your week going?
Great. Just started spring break with the kids, went to Dollywood, and we had a great time.
Nice. Any recommendations on where to go in Dollywood?
As far as roller coasters, we kind of had to force the kids, but
No.
of course they ended up loving it. We knew they would. But yeah, they had some great ones. Big Bear Mountain and
They're
Blazing
mostly all
Fury.
wooden, right? Wooden roller coasters?
They have Thunderhead, which is all wooden, and we actually didn't do that one. They have some newer
Okay.
ones too, so we didn't have time. They have a lot now.
It's funny because I feel like most likely they'll like it, or I could traumatize them for life. I got my mom made me get on a ride at a carnival one time, very different, and the carnival ride got stuck in the
Oh
air,
no. Oh
and
no.
they had to get. I was like 8, I think, and they had to get like ladders up and like evacuate everybody off of the ride.
See, I don't even
That's
think
hard to
William and I
forget.
want to go. We're like, you don't want to ride? That's great. We don't either.
But my mom was like, "Oh, it's all part of the experience."
I guess at a carnival, yeah, it is. Rachel, how was your week?
It's been good. It felt like a really busy week. It was, some play dates at the new co-op that my 6-year-old is, since we homeschool and we started a new co-op this semester. And so we had a bunch of new play dates and we had a little field trip. We have another field trip to a gold mine coming up, and we just did soccer practice and camping and all the young little homeschool boy activities that you do.
Keeping them active.
Yeah, exactly.
We went hiking this weekend as well, and the boys
Oh,
loved
cool.
it. And our middle child, who is 3, he kept up really well. And I was really surprised with how well he did on the trail. So, many
That's really
hikes in our
impressive.
future. And would you like to give our listeners a little bit more, tell them a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Let's see. Currently living in Greenville, South Carolina, which is where both myself and my husband are from. We actually met in high school. So he decided to do dental school. And so that's how we all know each other. Husbands are dentists. And so he did Charleston for 4 years for dental school. And as we're talking about relocation on this podcast, we have been around the block. He had an Air Force scholarship for his dental school. And so once dental school was finished, that's when he owed the 5 years. So I had to write it down on a list because it was quite comprehensive. Let's see. We went to Charleston, where our first child was born, and then Washington, D.C., then Japan, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
where we all had a great community together, and Alabama, and then out of the military, we went to Houston, Texas, and then just a little less than 2 years ago, we moved back here to Greenville, South Carolina, where we'll hopefully stay, and my husband swears to never move again. So, but yeah, we have, let's see, 3 kids, and 10, 7, and the last one's almost 4 years old at this point. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
And
forgot y'all were in
didn't we all
DC.
3 have a kid
Yeah.
in Japan? Rachel, you had 2?
Oh no, just the one.
Just the one.
Yeah.
One and a
Tried
half.
to
Feels
make
like
it
a
a
lot.
two-baby tour like everyone says, but
All right. So, in this episode, we'll be discussing hospitality and how to welcome in new people to our community. So, how can we support those who are relocating? What small acts of kindness would benefit those in the midst of a major change? And that's why we have Megan on this podcast, because Megan was actually William and I's sponsor with Blake, her husband, when we went to Japan, and they showed us such kindness when we moved there. They invited us over immediately for dinner and gave us a home cooked meal. I'm almost positive it was spaghetti. Like, that's how much of an impression it made, because when you're jet lagged and in a foreign country and just so, thrown off, to be like in a home with like friends and like sitting around, and like I didn't know you guys really at that point. William had known like from dental school, but And then the hospitality didn't stop. It was inviting us over for game night and including us on trips to go to fun restaurants off base and inviting us to your church, and just that continued reaching out and pouring into us and making sure that we were checked on and that we had what we needed. And then, of course, we didn't have cars in Japan. So, like, you drove us all around base and all over the place. I remember Georgiana was just like 6 months old. She was so tiny, and you were just hauling her around all over, showing us like the base. And I didn't think much about it then because I wasn't a mother, but looking back, I'm like, oh wow, like that was a lot of work to, get you and your baby out of the house and to take these people around, and show them. So I think that you and Blake have modeled this so, so well. And we're very excited to hear, stories and advice from you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, you mentioning restaurants. I think y'all were our first sushi go round in Japan. That was fun.
Yeah, that was. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was fun with your kids too. Like, yeah. And y'all took us to Tim Kaipen ramen. That was like my
Uh,
first ramen. And like,
Oh, yeah.
I never had ramen before. I didn't get anything. I got rice. And now I love it. And I'm like, man, wish I could have it now. But yeah, so yeah, that was so much fun. We
yeah,
got like
when
crazy
they were
milkshakes.
announcing to Blake's class what places they had received, they told Blake that where he was going had a lot of sushi. Blake's first thought was, I don't like fish. Poor guy didn't
Yeah,
appreciate it much.
the cuisine in Japan is hard. I think we all think it's one thing, and there's so much more depth to it than yeah. It's a very foreign place, especially for food.
Yeah, for those of us in the it's not Western. It's
No, and even their Western stuff is still a little bit Japanese. Still
oh my
like
gosh,
always a twist.
the first spaghetti I had in Japan was I hadn't met you guys yet because we had only been there like a day or two. I went to Family Mart or something, one of those, and they had spaghetti in a thing, and it said like spaghetti with red sauce, and so I got it because I was like, I just want some spaghetti. It was ketchup. It was entirely ketchup. It was noodles with covered in ketchup.
It's tomato sauce, technically.
I think it said tomato sauce, and then
I'm
I think it
surprised
said
it didn't
Jack
have corn.
American.
I'm surprised it didn't have corn on it because a lot of times stuff had corn on it too. I was like, this is gonna be corn.
It had corn on it all the time.
Surprised didn't have Kit Kats. They love Kit Kats. That was awesome. Well, I do remember y'all coming, and yeah, that was just so nice to be able to open our home to you. Our sponsor Tyler was just so amazing for us. He pretty much had cars ready to go for us, and which was a blessing because as you know, as you said, you have so many things you have to be driven to, your orientation and just everything about base life, and then y'all had to look at houses off base because Kadena is interesting in that they don't tell you where you're going to live until you get there, and then they say, well, there's per your rank there's these houses available and none on base or yes on base, and so y'all didn't get one on base, so you had to immediately go house hunting. So that was hard, yeah, but we were happy to be able to open our doors and help y'all out because we were mentioning earlier that Japan, it was just so easy to be a loving, show hospitality with your community because you can just automatically assume that no one has any community there that they know. So you just know that everyone needs help. So it
Yeah,
was
and
just
we
so
were
nice.
incredibly fortunate that you guys were a year ahead of us or a year ahead of William in dental school. And so when we got the assignment, William was like, well, that's where Blake went. We'll reach out to him. And like, they seem to be loving it out there. And so like just how lucky that was to have already people we knew ahead of us. And then to have like Clint get assigned there as well. And like my friend Clint and Rachel, they're gonna come too. And so just incredibly fortunate that we had that network because I feel like other people didn't necessarily.
Well, when
Um,
we first got there, our sponsor was great, but he was, a working dentist. So, and his wife had was pregnant and couldn't show us around. And so we had our cars, and we were actually hilariously found out that Blake's college roommate's wife's sister lived there in
okay.
Okinawa. So she actually, I mean, friend of a friend figured out that she was there too. So she, at 9 months pregnant, showed us around the island and showed us her favorite spots because she had been there at least a year. And so it's just community, just pouring into community. It's just, and you can just pass it down to the next person. So it was amazing.
100%. I feel like Okinawa is the most famous island that no one's ever heard of because I never heard of it. And now when I tell people I lived there, it's like, oh yeah, like my dad was stationed there. Oh yeah, like yada
Yeah.
yada. Like there's always someone who knows it. And it's like everyone knows about this little island just because of how many Americans filtered through it. But
Well, the
yeah.
first thing you hear when like you're told, "Hey, you got Okinawa, Japan," and you talk to people about it, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, you cry when you hear that you get Japan, and then you cry when you leave Okinawa, Japan." And that was so true because it was one of the best 3 years of our life. We talk about it almost weekly.
Oh yeah, we do too. Yeah. I think the aspect of like what you were saying is like when you get there, you don't have community, so everyone's searching for it, and everyone is intentional about building it. And so it's just a different experience than living in the States. I feel like Kadena and likely Leicester, where Rachel lived, was more of that village
Hmm.
community. We were off base our first year, but our second year we got to live on base, just a house pod
Upper
away from
Jennings, woohoo!
the famous Upper Jennings. Just a house pod away from Megan and Blake, which was just so amazing. That we got to live in a neighborhood with so many of our friends. And I would see you like running food to people's houses and stuff, and just like, oh, like and Megan are cooking again, and everyone in the neighborhood gets something. Text us and be like, "Y'all want something?" And we'd be like, "Yes, of course we do."
Well, we are very home foodies, and so I mean, we within a year bought our own home fryer, oil fryer, deep fryer, I guess is what you call it, to make our own Chick-fil-A. That was the necessity. We've quickly figured out Krispy Kreme donuts. So we were just cooking constantly, and that makes a lot of food. So we were always just like,
Yeah.
who needs a meatball sub? Who needs
Yeah.
a donut?
For
Cookies.
context, for anyone who hasn't been to Okinawa, there was what was there? There was like a Popeyes on base, but there's no Chick-fil-A, there's no Krispy Kreme, there's no the Japanese actually do really like McDonald's and KFC, so that was there. But all of our, I mean, Chick-fil-A and Krispy Kreme. Do you guys remember when on Foster they were doing construction and they had it all like fenced off with like these big white like opaque fencing things, and somebody thought it would be a cruel prank to put Chick-fil-A stickers on that to
Yep.
make everyone think we were getting a Chick-fil-A on base, and it was
So
not.
mean.
That
So
was
mean.
so mean.
Well, while we were there, Popeyes came out with their chicken sandwich. And so everyone was in an uproar. Like we could at least
That's true.
get something close to Chick-fil-A. And it was good. It's different, but it was good sandwich.
Y'all's Chick-fil-A though was coming over to your house and
Oh,
getting the
I mean,
tallest
It was
in
Sister
close.
Chick-fil-A.
Schubert's rolls with a little chicken nugget tastes exactly like minis, chicken minis. And yeah, so I think we had a Catan night, a game night, where we invited everyone and we made a Chick-fil-A spread. We made chicken
Yeah.
minis, we made Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and I think we did find
Yeah.
some frozen waffle fries that we fried up as well.
Do y'all still make Chick-fil-A now that you don't have to?
Girl, no,
No.
I go buy that at least twice a week.
And
No.
y'all made it into little nuggets too. It was such a nice treat. Like,
Yeah, it really was. Especially when you're feeling so homesick that you just never really understand how homesick you're going to feel until you get there and you're there in this like foreign, everything is foreign, and you get really homesick really fast. So
Yeah.
having those little things that remind you of home are like so powerful. They're silly, but they feel really powerful.
Let's talk about why hospitality is so important. I have a Bible verse that I thought I'd read because this is the Walk by the Way podcast, and we want to include scripture in all parts of our lives. And hospitality is mentioned in the Bible. So let's read First Peter chapter 4, 8 through 11. Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins. Show hospitality to one another without grumbling. As each has a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. Whoever speaks as one speaks to oracles of God, whoever serves as one serves who serves by the strength that God supplies, in order that everything God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. To him belong glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. So it's a calling. God calls us to be hospitable to others. We're asked to serve, and we're given gifts of serving, and that can look different amongst, your talents and like what you're good at and how you're able to serve.
Yeah, it's the sacrificial giving of God's love. I think it's not only commended but commanded in the Bible, that we're to serve others in our community, treat all others with respect and dignity, and as our cup overfloweth with God's love, and even if we don't have much, we can give much, and even the tiniest of ways, we would, toss over a cup of cookie dough. So just something to say that you're thinking of someone is just a handful of.
Why do y'all think it's hard though to be hospitable? Why is it hard to host or open up your home or things of that nature?
Personally, it's a sacrifice for me because I am a huge introvert homebody. So meeting new people, and that's a little bit hard for me to go out of my box. But um, it's just so helpful. It's just spreading God's love, and we're supposed to be the light to show God's light, and that's one way to do it.
Yeah, something that always struck me with you guys, Megan, is that we came on, you got there first, and then William and Scarlett, and then we came a year later. And you guys invited us over right away, but then also William and Scarlett, you guys were the ones that drove us around. William and Scarlett did, and I think it's like kind of like the pay it forward thing, because we had a sponsor who was very hard to reach and almost like non-existent. And so basically Blake became our sponsor because Blake answered all of the questions that he could possibly answer. We're Navy, you guys are Air Force, but like Blake would send paragraphs upon paragraphs and emails on, and Clint would ask him something and he'd be like, I already know all about that and I'll tell you everything I know, or I'm gonna try to figure it out. And then Blake was like our unofficial sponsor coming on, and then William and Scarlett, you guys drove us all around, and then immediately we were being invited to dinner, and then kind of quickly we started the Tollisons. You guys would have us over weekly, every single week for game night, and you'd set up a pack and play in your bedroom for our 1-year-old, and I had never met you guys before, and we were there still living in a hotel. We didn't even have a house yet. I think we had been in Okinawa for 2 weeks, and it was our son's first birthday, and we had just found out the gender of the one we were pregnant with, and it's like, well, we don't know anybody here, and like, are we gonna have a party? And you guys made sure we had a party at your house, and you made the smash cake and everything, because I couldn't bake because we were in the hotel. And so I was like, what am I gonna do? Like, hand him a banana to smash? And you guys decorated your house, you set up the bounce house, we did a gender reveal at your house to like almost virtual strangers that would like, well, they're gonna be family, so they're like, we were basically family the moment we stepped onto the island, is the way you guys all treated it. But I always was really struck by just how inviting but how it's like we were treated like friends and family before we were. Like we were actually strangers. Like Clint and Blake didn't really know each other that well. They knew each other a little bit from dental school, but Blake was in a different year, and I had never met any of you. But coming onto the island, and immediately it's like, oh, but we know you. Like we and even this morning, because it's Sunday, and the sermon today was about John 9, and it was talking about the blind man and Jesus healing the man with the mud in his eyes. And after the man was healed with the mud in his eyes, a lot of people were like questioning who he was. Like, but they looked at the man and they're like, is this the same guy who used to beg? And they were his neighbors, and in that community, they grew up like next to each other in small little towns. Everybody knew exactly who this man was. They would have seen him on a daily basis. And they were like, is this the same man? No, that's not him. It looks like him. That's not him, though. And people were questioning his identity. And our pastor was talking about how painful that is to be like unknown and to be kind of discarded and not really. And then his parents were also like, he's of age, ask him what happened. Like, we're not going to speak for him. Essentially, he's kind of being intentionally unknown. And that is just to say, the pastor was talking about how painful that is to not be known and to not want to be known and nobody trying to know you. And we just had the exact opposite experience coming onto Okinawa, and you guys, virtual strangers, were immediately like, oh no, we know you. And not only do we know you, you're our family. Like we're going to treat you like family, and we're not
You
going
had
to
a
act
tiny
like,
connection, so you're ours.
yeah.
That's
It's
how
like,
Okinawa works.
yeah, we knew your names and now you're family. And that was just really, really healing and powerful for us to, and it's not like Scarlett says, it's not easy. You had been there longer than us, but you had two little kids, and we're also going through COVID, and we're also, like had all the same trials that everybody always has, like with being young parents on a foreign island during a pandemic. And yet you were also just incredibly open and inviting and serving. There was always food when we came over, and that's not why we came over, but there was always food. There was always food.
There's
And
always a place to sit. You are
yes,
always given whatever you needed. If you wanted water, they had the water ready to go.
she
If
put the
you were
water, she
pregnant,
filled up all the water cups and put them in the fridge beforehand so that all the water cups would be individually cold for every person coming over.
Girl, we just needed to
William
get
still
onto our
does that.
Catan game. That took hours.
William still does that because y'all did that, because he just loves it. He's like, a cold glass of water. That's like what everyone wants when you come over to someone's house.
Yeah,
You always
yeah.
made
Well,
sure the pregnant ladies, me and Rachel, had pillows so
Oh
that
my
we were
gosh, you
comfy.
wouldn't let us sit on
uh,
wooden chairs. You like always put pillows there. No, 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 no. You need a pillow. Like you.
well, I mean, we were sitting there for hours. But yeah, and then COVID, I didn't get into bread. I got into cakes. So then, yes, we had sometimes a different cake every week. But yeah, that was my favorite part of the week. We would all play Catan for hours at night, and I actually literally brought the box with me. And I mean, the first date was August 2020, and it goes, I mean, for
And that's when we decided to start recording it too,
That's
because
true. We didn't record it right away.
oh, that's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
After every
So
game, yeah, you had to Sharpie in who won. And unfortunately,
We
Rachel's husband has
arrived,
way too many wins.
or as he would say, not enough wins. But we arrived on the island in July of 2020. So we
Oh,
immediately
there you go.
started.
Yeah. I think we're just like, so on Fridays we do game nights. You're just gonna come over for game night.
You're a
And
part
we
of
had to
this now.
expand. That was like such a transition. I was like, man, we have to move to 6-player instead of 4-player.
Oh, we had to, yes, buy the expansion.
And Clint had to change his color. He had to pick a new color to play
Oh,
Oh,
with.
that's
no.
true. Oh. I don't remember what he was, but he would.
He was
remember.
brown. Yes, I remember.
No, I can't remember what he was before.
Oh, before
Like
that.
I just remember him being brown. I don't remember what he was before
Maybe
that.
blue or green.
I think though, like, we could use all these things as excuses of like, well, we're busy parents of young toddlers, or we're afraid it'll be awkward, like if we invite them and like the fear of rejection, like what if they say no or like I don't know about that. Like my house is it's not perfect. Like I haven't cleaned. Like I feel like I fall into that a lot. And right now, especially with three small kids, is like I can't have anyone over. No one wants to come to a house full of like loud children and like messiness and running around and stuff. And so I get where hospitality can be this like daunting thing that no one really wants to do. So, how are some ways that we can encourage listeners to like overcome these perceived difficulties? And obviously, not everyone on here might be young parents, but I think everyone struggles with opening their homes or
Mhm.
inviting someone and, feeling that awkward kind of friend date.
Yeah, well, so it's easy for us in our neighborhood here, let alone, I guess we can talk about our churches, but our neighborhood, I mean, one of the first questions usually out of people's mouths is, how long have you been here? And that's just an easy plug to be like, oh, I'm new, or, just, oh, do you know about this? Or, do you all need any help with anything? And, I love social media these days, Facebook pages, every neighborhood has them. So it's easy to find help and ask for things, but it is hard to put yourself out there, you're sitting there at the pool sometimes and you see someone confused or, it's just easy to pop in and offer your help, but yeah, you do have to kind of work yourself up to ask that.
Yeah.
Right, because the question might arise of like, oh, do they really need my help? Like, do they really? And then it really becomes, which I think this is something, Megan, that you do really well, is instead of thinking about yourself in a hospitality situation, you're thinking about the other person. So you're not necessarily another thing. Well, I mentioned this to Scarlett. I was like, how do I say this like in the like best way that I truly mean it, is that like your house would be messy when we came over like half the time. And it's like, but there was always a place to sit, always a table cleared and food, like something to snack on and a drink and a smile and a hug and a game. Like that was what we cared about as your guests. Like we didn't care
Mhm.
about the messiness. And that was, you've got two little kids that are
It was it
in the
wasn't
house all the
it was
time.
a lived in
And
home. You lived in the home, you had
exactly.
children, and that was your home.
But
And that's what I keep trying to tell myself. It's like it's a
yes,
lived in home. People
but
live
that's
here and use the things that are in the home.
like what I mean by messy is that like you spent your time preparing it for guests to be hospitable to us and not to look nice for yourself. Like you, instead of, time is limited when you have multiple little children and or when you're working, or truly everybody's time is limited because we all find things that we're busy with. So we're all busy, even if you're not young parents, but we're all young parents. And when I walked into your home, Megan, it was like, oh, she cares about us. She doesn't care about how we're perceiving her. You're, because truly that is what I can struggle with is, oh, I just want to clean the house and make sure everything's clean and like everything that they see. I think that whenever I will struggle with wanting my house to look very clean and spending a lot of time cleaning my house because of how I want my guests to perceive me, instead of spending my time like you do preparing it to serve my guests. And because truly most people aren't like, it's like people aren't like lifting up the toilet seat and like making, oh, did she like wipe the sink off, like it's, those things are nice if you have time, but the heart is serving people coming into your home, not being perceived well by the people coming into your home. And that's makes all of the difference of it feeling hospitable and people feeling loved and welcomed whenever they come in. And
Mhm.
that just was always, that has stuck with me all these years. It's been really powerful for me, like how you guys opened up your home and what you care about whenever you do open up your home, and how it's actually such a biblical picture of hospitality. It's not a performance, it's like actual servanthood.
Well, especially as you could see in the early days of the church, I mean, homes were churches. Homes were where
Mm.
people did their ministry. So, I just, our home can be our ministry where you can either invite people or you could bring your home to other people in different ways. But I just think that's a beautiful thing to be able to do for others.
I was so sad when y'all left the island because your home felt like a second home. And it was so sad to like when we had to watch y'all pack up all your things. That's, I think, what, Rachel is saying is it's not about how the person, you know, it's how the person felt when they were in your home. That's more than how
Yes.
they like perceived the home, like in a visual aspect. And um, yeah. So I we talked about Matthew 35 through 40 these last couple of weeks at church. And it is about, you know, when I was naked, you clothed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. When I was hungry, you gave me food. And that's what we're called to do in, these
Mhm.
moments, in your home or out of your home, to be hospitable, because that's what Jesus cares about. Like, did you, and it's not about feeding Jesus. He's talking about feeding others, the least of these is how the verse ends. Did you take care of others, that needed it? And I think at times we forget people need that hospitable moment. It's really easy to identify, like you said, Megan, military families coming onto a base. It's like, well, we know they don't have any family or support system. We're in a foreign country. Of course they don't. Um, but yeah, what outside of maybe opening your home, what are some practical ways we can show love to those who are new in our community? I know sometimes when I'm at a park with like another mom and I've seen her several times, I'll be like, hey, we usually come here on Tuesdays. Do you want to meet again up here, next Tuesday or something?
Yeah, yeah, and it's easy when you meet people who frequent some places where you frequent. Sometimes you can get an instant connection with a person. Hey, I think that person would be pretty cool. We'd probably hit it off well as friends. But it's hard to put yourself out there and go say, hey, do you want to maybe meet for coffee and another park date somewhere else? Where else do y'all like to go to the park? And that could lead to, well, we go to a gym mine, like you were talking about, Rachel, or a hike, or um, just something where you can set up another date, or, just find out, if they have a need that you can meet, or have another friend coming into town soon that you could help out with. I feel like I've been invited to a lot of meal trains recently, and my my knee-jerk reaction was, oh my gosh, I've got so much kids activities going on and cooking for our house and home stuff, and I don't know if I have the time. But meal trains are such a quick and easy way to help serve someone who, especially if they've just had a baby. Man, I mean, y'all know how much that helps.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about meal trains. That's a great one. They were kind of very prevalent at Pillar, our church in Okinawa, is I took meals to several people I didn't know because that's just kind of what you did. But I feel like we should bring that back. Like, or maybe I should suggest it in my community that I'm in, because sometimes it is hard to cook for someone else. But like that's a really easy way to serve because everyone needs food. Like everyone needs a meal, and sometimes when you're living out of boxes, that's the hardest thing to unpack is the
Mhm.
kitchen, because it's usually a lot of boxes. Rach, do you have any ideas of how to maybe just connect with others in your community? I feel like you were
As
always talking to moms at the park.
Yeah, how'd you
yeah,
set up those tea dates? That looks so whimsical. I totally wanted to be invited to
oh,
your
that's
tea
funny.
party.
I started inviting people over for tea, and they were like, "Okay, this is America," but I was like, "I like tea. Do you like tea? I've got coffee too." Um, yeah, I think. Well, I think the. I know you asked for the practical, but the mindset is the thing that once I overcome a certain mindset, it helps a lot with the practical. And that mindset I just keep going back to is thinking about not thinking about how I'm going to be perceived, but thinking about how they might want to be seen, or like they might want to be perceived, or, and even if they don't, there's been times that I've like kind of reached out to somebody. I'm like, oh, hey, like, do you like, how long have you lived here? Like, you know, seeing if they might need a friend or something. And it's like, oh, I've lived here 20 years and I'm like very deeply connected and I know more than you, kind of thing. And it's like, it's like, it's like, oh, well, I was just being nice, but it's not, that should never be a hindrance of wanting to serve, like potentially missing out on somebody who would be really blessed by your friendship or hospitality, for the sake of you not being a little awkward sometimes. Just that would just be silly if you if you didn't reach out to people, because you thought they didn't need the help, or they didn't need the friendship, or they didn't need, because it's like, oh, maybe they don't need it, but if they do need it and you didn't offer it, now you've missed out. So I think just getting over that mindset of I'm thinking about them and I'm thinking about Jesus and I'm not thinking about myself, is kind of the hurdle. And then with practicality, meals is such a big one. And which makes sense, like if you just think about how many things in the Bible center around food. So
That in our small group, we try to, do a meal each month with a couple. Like you're assigned another family to go have a dinner with. But a lot of us just choose the restaurants with the playground, and it's actually worked out great because, it's a like specific meeting point. No one has to worry about cooking a large meal for, big families. And we can all gather, the kids can play, everyone can eat, and no one has to clean up. Who can we show hospitality to? So it's really easy as military spouses to be like, hey, there's another military family that just moved into my neighborhood. That's an easy person to serve. But obviously, what does that look like? Um, you know, from another perspective outside the military.
Yeah, military, it was so easy, especially when you're moving overseas. We're like, well, dang, do you need pots? Like, what? You got nothing. We know that. But yeah, when you're here, I mean, it's like you said, getting connected into community. So, a meal's an easy one. That can be a starting base, and then a night at your house, and um, inviting them to your church, a park, and so that can just lead on to a friendship, or if you're not compatible, maybe connecting them with someone else. My other friend does this, if you don't have that hobby. But yeah, it's in our neighborhood, it's fairly easy still to see the new people. And so you can go out of your way. Everyone walks around. You can be like, hey, how you doing? Well, nice to meet you. But also in your church, if you have some new people in your group that you notice coming to church, when the band, my least favorite part, when they tell you to stand up and greet everyone around you. And my little introverted self. And one of the first questions most people ask is, how long have you been going here? And so it's a quick and easy way to say, we're new, so you can help get them plugged into some groups, that our church has.
It's like 3 introverts decided to have a podcast about hospitality.
We
Rachel
try.
might be an extrovert. She might be extroverted.
I whiplash back and forth.
I think, a coworker, another mom at like school pickup. I've made a friend picking up my sons from Mother's Day out. I met some women that way at parks. We've made friends when we were doing Orange Theory. We just talked to people in the lobby, even like the coaches. So I think the first step is probably, look around in your community. And if you're looking for community, go join a club. Like go join something.
Yeah. We when we first got here, the priority is to find a good church. Which in Japan we just went to the on-base church, but then COVID closed that down. So after COVID, we Did y'all recommend Pillar to us? How do we, I don't know.
I think we were trying to get y'all to come over, but we weren't like trying to like tell you not to go to the on-base church, but we're like, this off-base church is really great.
So yeah, that
We're
brought
over
us over
here.
there. So, when you come to a new place, it's plugging into a church is a great way to do it. And we're from Greenville, and we still went to 3 or 4 different churches, that we knew about, just to figure out kind of what was the perfect fit for us. And so don't be afraid to, like Rachel said, accept rejection or even, just have an awkward feelings. We kind of just had to feel it out for ourselves that way.
Any final thoughts on hospitality or just serving others or showing up for others?
No, I guess I was just gonna say, Scarlett, I think one of the favorite memories for y'all was, you had your first baby in Japan, and that was hard. I mean, military families go through so many sacrifices, and for y'all to have your first child in Japan and to be away from family who could come help, meet you. I mean, the simple things, coming to see you at the hospital and doing the first look and, gender reveals like Rachel. And yeah, so, we met you at the hospital and brought you and your nurses some food and then
Oh
drew some
yeah,
chalk
oh
on
yeah.
your house, when y'all got
Yeah.
home. And, it's just, I love those little moments. So
I
thank y'all
think
for having
people
me.
sometimes feel bad for me when they hear that I had like my first son
Mhm.
overseas and that I wasn't around any family. And I'm like, oh, like, yes, that was very sad that my parents missed out on that. But I received so much love from you and Blake and Rachel and our church family. I mean, I got a meal train and you brought balloons and dinner and like made sure we had that person who was supposed to be my mom. Oh man, Megan, I cried in the last podcast too. We can't keep this going.
Scarlett's the crier.
I think that's an important note, and we could end on that note. It's like your simple actions will have a long lasting impact on someone because, like, and I love that you remember that story, Megan, because I remember it and I'm going to hold it. But, your simple moment with another person could mean a lot. So, all right. Well, thank you, Megan, for coming on our podcast.
Thanks for
And
having me.
we'll see y'all next time. And remember to keep God's word close as you walk by the way.